This is the first video of a new series about the opening of the book. This first video, part 1 of 2 parts, is just an introduction, giving a little background to how I obtained this knowledge. Recorded in the revelation of John the Divine, also referred to the revelation of Jesus Christ, in chapter 5, verses 1 to 14, quote, "And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne," end quote. The reference to his right hand does not refer to a person's hand but instead to the right-hand side. This drawing shows the Lamb, enlarged. A book, written within, and on the back side, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel, shown in this drawing, proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book, and to loose the seals thereon," end quote. The angel involves the ports. Continuing in verse 3, quote, "And no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open, and to read the book, neither to look thereon," end quote. The scribes have bastardized the first book of Moses, called Genesis, trying to convince others that Adam and man are one and the same, but Adam and man are not the same, period. From the book of Genesis, in chapter 1, verse 26. Quote, "And God said, Let us make man, in our image, after our likeness," end quote. Note, here it does not say, man was formed from the dust of the ground, but instead created in the image of God. God is not made from the dust of the ground, period. Now continuing on with verse 26, quote, "And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth," end quote. It does not say, the Adam species would have dominion over anything. Then in verse 27, quote, "So, God created man in his own image, in the image of God created he, him. Male and female, created he them." This refers to the inner and outer of things. The female involves Barbelo, the mother-father, the soul, and the male involves the inner or contents. Note, this is correct, but in chapter 2, verse 7, quote, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." This verse has been bastardized by the scribes to deceive. Man was not formed of the dust of the ground, it was the Adam species that was formed from the dust of the ground. The soul does not have nostrils, nor does it breathe air, like a beast of the field such as the Adam species. Man was, and is title of the soul, not the Adam species. The Adam species stole the title of the soul, which is man. The Adam species is a beast of the field, who was formed from the dust of the ground. This is why it is said at a funeral, quote, "Dust to dust, ashes to ashes." Note also, there is God, and there is the Lord God. God is the word that was in the beginning with the first word, in Greek, iota, nu, zeta, or in English, INZ. Now back to the revelation of John the Divine, in chapter 1, verse 5. "And one of the elders saith unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, hath prevailed to open the book, and to loose the 7 seals thereof," end quote. Because everything goes through the core processor of the soul, referred to biblically as the man-child or the Son of Man, also referred to as the Lion of David, involving a 6-pointed star, opens the books. Now back to verse 5, quote. And I beheld, and, lo, in the midst of the throne, and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns, and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. End quote. The 4 large octagons form the Ogdoad, and are not beasts, as the scribes have bastardizing the writings. The original 6-pointed star involved 7 geometric shapes, which are 6 triangles and 1 hexagon, as shown in this drawing. The new 6-pointed star involves 7 octagons. This concludes part 1 of the first video of this new series, with part 2 of the introduction will follow in the near future.